One Piece chapter 1141. It is titled An Older Woman, and we continue with Yamato's journey with the cover page. In the last chapter, Oti, she was on a dartboard and swords they were being thrown at her, and in this chapter we see who's who. He is torturing page 1 on the ground and it looks like he's in even worse shape than Oti, and what makes it even worse is that Oti is just helplessly looking at him. We know how much she loves and cares about page 1. I wonder if Yamato is going to save them, and not only that, if eventually she'll try to make them her retainers, because we know that Kaido, he looked after page 1 and Oti because Hanafuda unfortunately was killed, and we learned that in the most recent SBS. So I wonder if Yamato is going to follow in her father's footsteps. I think it would be pretty cool seeing Oti and page 1 work under Yamato, because let's be honest, Oti with her personality and her as a character, we definitely need more of her in the story. But with that out of the way, let's get into the chapter. After tagging along with Luffy and Zoro in search of gigantic treasure, she wanted to get diamonds, rubies, gold, you name it. Nami, she's disappointed because instead of treasure, she's returning empty-handed. Well, not entirely, I guess, because her and Road, they're bringing the giants that were beaten up by Gunko, but still, if I was there searching for a giant-sized diamond, I'd be pretty pissed that I wouldn't be able to return with that, and I gotta come and save these people. Nah, I want the treasure.
Tell them to bring me my money.
Hat burglar Nami for a reason. Switching to Frankie's group, him and Ripley, they are talking, and we get a little bit more detail and insight regarding how the giants live, as well as more detail about the treasure tree Adam. According to Ripley, the giants live on top of the branches of the treasure tree Adam, which means that this tree is enormous if it can support not only the giants and their homes, but other things that they use on a daily basis. As they are talking, Frankie, he notices a branch that is severed, and this is because it unfortunately had to be cut off because it was struck by lightning. And treasure tree Adams, some of its weakness is because of his age, is that once it ends up being too old, the branch, the fire that was caused by the lightning, unfortunately would not go out, so they had to cut the tree. And this is where we got introduced to Elbaph's biggest weaknesses, which is fire and lightning. The moment that Ripley stated lightning, I know some people were itching like a crackhead thinking about Enel, because anytime lightning is brought up, I know that his name is the first thing that appears in people's minds. Now, personally, I don't give a fuck about Enel, alright? I don't really care about it as much as the community. I thought of Sanji and Nami because we know what Sanji can do with his Jambe abilities, and then Nami's lightning, it's pretty strong, especially now that she has Zeus. So I wonder if these two are going to play a vital role during Elbaph. Nami, she returns to the Straw Hats that are celebrating, and Usopp, that brother is freaking wasted. My boy is drunk. I don't know about y'all, right? Especially since I'm in college, there is a lot of drunk people all over the place, especially when you go to parties. Sometimes it can be funny, right? Seeing people act silly, act dumb, say whatever they want, do whatever they want. But when you're the friend that's sober and you have to take care of these people, bring them back to their apartments, their cars and everything, oh, that part is definitely not fun. And honestly, well, it's still up in the air whether or not I'm liking Usopp's new type of persona, I guess, whenever he's drunk. But I will say, so far, I'm leaning towards liking it, because whenever Nami returns, Usopp, he's like, Zoro, this is our genius navigator, trying to sell Nami off to Zoro. And he's like, oh, she's beautiful, but I'm in an older woman. Buddy, you're like the oldest person in the world. You're falling off the bone. And that was basically Usopp's response, because he's like, well, there ain't nobody out there that's older than you, so you're cooked. You're not gonna find anybody like that, so you gotta go with a younger girl. And then Usopp hits a flash step, and then he tries to pull Zoro's sword, or he smacks Zoro's sword, and then he talks about later, he's like, hey, let's try to pull it out like it's Excalibur. Usopp, who is drunk, top 3 in the verse. Low-key, my boy has no fear and no regard for anything. While this is happening, Gerd, she is treating the injured giants for the different wounds that they have, the broken bones, the stabs, and obviously Gerd, she's going to be curious as how these giants who are supposed to be formidable guards, how they got beat up like this, with her constantly questioning Road, who he is sweating. And I'm not gonna lie, I get it. If a beautiful woman like that was talking to me and I'm awkward like Road, I'd probably be like, hey, I'm gonna need you to back up, because if you keep staring at me like this, I ain't even gonna be able to answer your question. He's at a crossroads, and rightfully so, because if he ends up snitching, he's gonna be seen as a co-conspirator or an accomplice to someone that is attempting and eventually freed Loki, and we know how bad that is. So Road, he's weighing his options, and then out of nowhere, Gerd, she smacks him and freaking clocks him, and Road is on the ground, and she's going to interrogate him for the truth. And honestly, Road, he has so many fetishes, so he's probably freaking salivating and fantasizing about this. But if you guys have made it this far into the video and you're enjoying the content, let me know by leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. I pump out different One Piece content almost each and every day. We cut to Luffy and Zoro, who have arrived at Loki's prison, and this scene, it's not what Zoro expected, because all the animals are beaten up and Loki is blooded. And this makes me wonder, where the heck is Cerberus, because he's nowhere to be found. I'm not sure if he's lurking around somewhere and they need to be cautious of that, or if he ended up returning to Shamrock. Luffy's getting ready to free Loki, because seeing him in this state, he doesn't necessarily perceive Loki as a threat, where he can't even take the cuffs off because they're made out of sea stone, which makes a lot of sense because Loki, he's eaten a legendary devil fruit. And so because of this, it's up to Zoro to free him, and he's definitely hesitant because of both Loki, his reputation, as well as the fact that this scene is so bloody, which causes Zoro and Luffy to get into an argument, since Loki, he is as big as Oris, and if he was set free, who knows what would happen. But Luffy, he doesn't believe that Loki is a bad person, and we know that his intuition is rarely wrong. So for his satisfaction, Zoro, he walks up to Loki and kicks him. What's up with these niggas and just beating up on a chained man or attacking somebody that's chained up? First it was Luffy, then it was the Holy Knights, and now Zoro. What's up with these guys? And obviously, after getting his ass whooped, he is screaming in pain. Like I said, rightfully so. He just got freaking attacked by Gunko and attacked by Cerberus. I get it to a certain degree. Zoro, he's very cautious. He's trying to see whether or not Loki was faking it just so that he could be set free. But at the same time, looking at the scene, Zoro, I think you could have read the room without even having to kick him. And because of the pain, Loki, he ended up passing out. And so seeing this, that Loki's not faking, Zoro's like, all right, give me the key, I'll go ahead and cuff him. However, we're going to leave one of his feet chained up, because that way he'll still technically be free but not free, and we'll still be able to handle the situation if something goes south. As Zoro is unlocking the different cuffs, they talk about how doing this is going to get them banished from Elbaph. And so Luffy, he's like, hey man, I'm hungry, but I'm gonna blame it on Zoro, right? We need to stock up on meat before we go. And Zoro, he's like, well, you can eat those guys. Luffy's like, well, which guys? And he looks, he's talking about the monsters that were Loki's pets, or they're his friends, and ended up, getting unconscious. And so Luffy's like, hey, I can eat them. I became friends with them, so anybody that I've become friends with is off the table. I don't know, Luffy. Well, number one, this is a callback to what happened at Amazon Lily. But number two, I vaguely remember you were so hungry that even Chopper was looking like emergency food. While this is happening, the new giant pirates, which composes of Haruden, Gerd, Road, and everybody else, they are flying towards Luffy, Zoro, and Loki. And Sanji, he's there as well. They're getting ready to crash, and Luffy, he ends up saving them with a Gumma Gumma no balloon. Haruden, after being saved, he is pleading, begging on his knee.
I'm on my knees, Stacy, praying, worshiping, begging, whatever you want,
for Loki not to be freed because of him being a trickster, that he's someone that betrays everyone without a second thought. And as Haruden is pleading, Luffy, he has this dumb look on his face because he's like, well, shit, I mean, he's already being freed. It's a little bit too late now. And Zoro, he comes out of nowhere like, well, it's a little bit late for that because Loki, he is now free. And I say that in quotes because, like I said, he does still have one chain on him, but Loki, he actually wasn't unconscious and he ends up standing up, and man, this is a big mother fluffer. He is looking dope in this panel. He is blooded, battered, bruised, and definitely wants revenge. Like he said, he'll use his friend's death as motivation. And this panel makes me think back to the giant that was on the Harley, or not the Harley, I'm sorry, the mural. It looks exactly like Loki. Obviously, Luffy, he's in shock because after Zoro kicked him, he was supposed to be unconscious. So he's like, oh shit, hold up, why are you up? Why are you up? And Loki, he ends up grabbing his hammer, Ragnar, which is a lightning hammer, so maybe he has the powers of Thor. I wonder if he does have lightning powers, if he was the individual that ended up striking lightning and caused that branch that Ripley was referring to go on fire and, you know, it got cut off, etc. Could we see the monster trio versus Loki, Gear 5th, King of Hell, Ifrit Jambe? That would be fine, I'm not gonna lie. We know that Luffy, he don't like people interfering in his fights. We know they can handle it. I'm expecting something major that's going to happen in the next chapter, especially because in Norse mythology, whenever Loki, he breaks free from his chains, that's essentially the start of Ragnarok. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know how you guys feel about this chapter in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you guys never saw a new video. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok is on the screen and in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to unleash your potential.